hammered monkey poo.
It's supposed to look like hammered monkey poo.
I know. It still sucks though.
That it does, my dear. It does. Okay. Let's wait for the people to come in.
I was gonna post on Facebook, but I got my notification.
Okay, that's good. Still hot in here. Teresa's here.
Yeah, she kind of knew. She asked me, she's like, what time are you going on now?
Anita Jordan. Hey, that's a name we haven't seen in a while.
No, that's not true. We've seen her on text messages recently. Which, by the way, Jordan, I have Blaze's phone, so.
Jordan, hit us up privately after we go off and we'll explain everything to you. Lone Star in the house. Whoop, whoop. Neona.
Neona.
Neon, that's what I said.
It's like neon. With
Mud
an
pie.
We gonna get into that.
Grandma on a roll.
Oh, we love all of our peeps. I'm telling you.
Isn't she the one that we owe the?
Yes.
Yeah. Grandma, I gotta redo your. They were kinda in the truck. Supposed to go to the post office. Ecuador Homestead.
Just like she's not in here right now, but one of my oils people, their order was in the truck too.
Yep. So we'll get all into that in a little bit. We'll give everybody some time to get in here.
How about, can you open your window maybe? Or does it not have a screen in it?
No screen. I can pop it open just a little bit. See?
Hey Julie, Karen, and Stephanie, and whole bunches of people. Really glad to see all you guys.
Go away, bad dream.
Oh, whoa, whoa! Sunlight! Don't worry about us for a good cause, and I appreciate it. Well, we do worry about it, because, yeah, anyway.
No, I had hers
Nice.
and the other guys looking really nice after all the explosions from the... Yeah. But it's okay. We'll start all over. Floyd. Just makes the story more interesting.
Yeah, I gotta add
Maybe
that to the story.
Maybe we'll include a copy of pictures of the truck.
Oh, the little circle. This is your this is your package right here. See this? See this pile?
Cab 7,
Oh,
hello.
Cab, we are so glad. I saw, I told you, I showed you the other day that
No,
Cab
you
is following us on Instagram now.
No, you
I
didn't
tell
say
you
nothing.
what, if y'all are not following him on Instagram, and it's not Cab 7 on Instagram, he takes some absolutely beautiful pictures. Like, I mean, like really pretty pictures. Let me see if I can find his real quick. See if I can find him.
We're almost at the 5-minute mark where we can start. We're letting everybody get on in. Get on in here.
Get on in here.
Get on in here.
It's like Ben something.
That's his name. B-E-N.
Right,
He
but
spells it
I'm
Ben.
trying to remember what his Instagram is. Artist Ben 7. That's his. So if you're not what?
Well, Carol didn't water some of our plants.
Yes.
So now she's outside with the hose watering them.
Mm-hmm.
And letting it soak in.
Mm-hmm.
But it's lettuce. Muscovy ducks like lettuce.
Oh no, are they out there trying to get the lettuce?
So she's literally sitting out there on a
like a cinder block or?
no, she got a little chair.
Oh, how funny.
And she is
Hey, Woody.
squirting them with the water hose.
Oh, let's see. Woody's here. Little Green Acres.
John Jones, there's a new one.
That is a new one. Mark, nice to see you, Mark. Jordan asks, how are the socks still holding up? Or are the socks still holding up? Yes, both pair. I wear them.
Oh yeah, I don't really get to wear them anymore, but
They're the perfect thickness and length to protect my legs from the boots that I got for Christmas. So I've been attacking.
she stole them.
And stealing them.
Okay, so we're at the 6-minute mark. So let's go ahead and
Welcome everybody.
welcome everybody to the show. It's not going to be an oils class tonight. First off, I think Robin and I both want to say thank you to everybody who reached out and said prayers and good thoughts. Reached out constantly and was a lot of y'all was checking on us and stuff when we were going through what we were going through this week.
Not being pushy, just hey, we're thinking about you. We got emails from people, we got phone calls. I mean, we had all kinds of different ways of people just saying, hey, we're here. If you need us for anything, we're
We've had
here.
a couple of people offer to get in vehicles and come
help
on down.
if they needed to.
Come on down and we might take you up on that just to stop a murder. But for those of you that don't know, that if you're not part of the Big Bear Homestead group or not friends with either Robin or myself on Facebook, on Wednesday, Blaze got in a very bad car accident.
9 o'clock in the morning.
And at about 9:30, I got a call at the post office. And I was just getting ready to walk out and start my route.
I think we should tell this better. Because that first part of the morning was already stressful for you. We started out in the morning. Jason was starting a route for the week. He had earned the trust of the guy that he subs for. That the guy was like, go ahead and come in today. Go ahead and start my vacation today. We'll go ahead and get you going. And I'm on the way to work, and Jason texts me and says, my Jeep is broke down. So after a little bit of puttering around, he figures out that he can use somebody else's vehicle, and we got that situated. So I'm not expecting to hear anything. Earlier in the morning, Blaze had told me that he needed to go get feed. So he was going to take the truck to go get feed and come back.
And the day before when him and I talked about it, I told him, you can use the truck. Go to the feed store and back. No, your sisters are not in that truck with you. Nobody gets in that truck with you. Drive the truck. You can't, because explain to him, you can't drive it like you do a normal car.
Especially not the Prius.
Because it doesn't, that truck was meant for torque, not for speed. So you have to make sure you give yourself plenty of distance. You have to make sure that you turn wide. All these things I laid out to him. His mother that morning re-emphasized basically everything I said. Well, being almighty and all-knowing as most
bulletproof teenager.
as teenagers think they are, he decided to go pick up this little girl he's been talking to. And on his way back, I don't know what was going on in that truck. I don't want to know what was going on in that truck. He was distracted. And he pulled out in the middle of an intersection and got T-boned. And let's see, this is what happened. This is what my truck looked like. There's the, that's not a good one to start with. That's not a good one.
Nope.
Nope.
Probably the very last one.
Yes.
Yes. Holy freaking crap. Yeah.
That's what my truck looked like. That's my father in the front seat, and that is me
in the back seat.
in the back.
You see the yellow barrels. That's the bad part. He never did get feed.
I don't know if you can see it in this picture, but there's some packages in there that were supposed to be going out later that evening when I got off of work. One of them was for Grandma on a Roll and Hope's Homestead's neighbor,
Jerry.
The guys that purchased the candlestick holders, and
Seedings.
Seedings oils.
Yeah.
So we have to reorder Seedings oils, and I have to remake those candle holders for you guys. But basically, from our understanding, we haven't gotten the police report. The truck, the other truck struck my truck. No. I know which one it is.
The very first one. There you go.
Right around in this area right here. The guy never hit his brakes.
He hit it so hard.
He hit it so hard and I guess tried to swerve that he literally...
Well, that would have been a good one.
I was thinking. Everybody thought we had a better one of it. That's where it ended. So I guess it was this one.
Yeah. No. Second one.
No. No. Where'd it go?
What are you trying to show? How it walked up the...
Yes.
If you look at any of the full pictures, you can see right there, see the tire well? It walked all the way up the door, all the way...
He basically slid
the full length
of the truck.
And they pushed into...
He basically was moving fast enough that he spun that dually all the way off
45 degree
45
angle.
Spun it around, kicked it off into a church grounds where they destroyed a granite sign.
Yeah, we don't have pictures of that, but he
There's
totally leveled
to...
it. Like, it's on the ground, broken from the base, and he ran over it. They had to lift the truck to get it off of the granite sign because he had completely run it over.
Yeah.
And you see the tires completely off of the front passenger side.
Yeah.
If any of you've ever seen our truck, there's a center console that was in the middle, and then there was about 6 to 8 inches at least on either side of the console. There was a gap where the seat belts go. Well, when we went in there to look,
and well, as you can see,
her seat is right next to Blaze's seat.
Yeah, there's no more center console.
There's no more center console. It was collapsed and on the ground.
The frame is completely twisted. The tire is gone.
That's what's in the back. If you look over the tire, right? Yeah, over the back tire, you can see the tire in the
bed of the truck. The
other guy was driving a truck as well. But it was more of a 1500 size, like a Chevy or GMC.
He got a cut on his arm. And that's about it. Now, say what I know there's always that debate and everybody likes to pick.
And Tim's in here.
Back and forth about Chevy versus Ford, Dodge versus Ford, Dodge versus Chevy. You see the pictures. Okay? Say what you want to about a daggum Ford, but I'm not going to own any other truck but a Ford from now on because they walked away.
Mm-hmm.
They're sore. Blaze has a black eye and a little like carpet burn around his eyeball and a bruise from the seatbelt. That's it. So say what you want about Ford, but
And the girl that got the full impact.
Ford saved my son's life
Mm-hmm.
and that young lady's life.
Mm-hmm. She's sore. She's more sore than Blaze, obviously. But, you know, they both walked away.
Yeah.
So,
of
course, the truck, on the other hand, we're going to have a memorial for.
Yeah.
Now,
I mean, Blaze does have a surgery in his future. That's going to be where they're going to remove my boot from his backside.
Mm-hmm.
Once I calm down a little bit. So.
No, the truck is not a Dodge. It was a Ford. Ford 350.
It was a Ford F-350 Super Duty with the Lariat package. It was a very nice truck. It gave us crap in the beginning. I mean, we went through a lot with that truck.
We still had a lot we were going to have to go through with it, but...
We invested a lot in that truck,
mm-hmm.
but it was still a good truck.
Mm-hmm.
Those of you that were at the conference, you've seen it. Tommy Alderman got to ride in it. He liked to make a joke about there was a butler in there serving drinks in the truck.
Yeah, so Amanda said brings new meaning to Ford Tough. That's the whole, that's what I've been saying. I mean, you know, at the end of the day,
I am going to write the Ford CEO, and I think Carol's got a note she wants to put in there too, and thank them. I mean, Ford stood on their own 2 feet with the bailout. They built at least that truck, the frame at least. That was the year that they had all the issues with that motor. But they came back, had the recalls. Unfortunately, the people that owned that truck before ours didn't go in for the recalls to have it fixed, so I had to come out of pocket to get it fixed.
And the other thing, too, that we've learned is we here cannot buy a truck from somewhere up north or somewhere close to the beach.
Yeah.
Because there was a lot of rust and stuff underneath the truck that next time we'll be way more aware of.
I'm just taking my diesel guy with me and telling him to go over it, or I'll take it to him.
Yeah, so.
But that's kind of where we are. We did absolutely nothing homesteading this week.
I did a lot of crocheting. I did a lot
because of
to keep my hands busy.
Of what happened. We've got now this week to stay busy. We will be transplanting the lettuce out into the garden, putting a hoop house over it just in case we get any late season frost, even because they're calling for a couple more. Get more tomato seeds started, get more cabbage seeds started, finish the chicken tractors. Blaze has a lot of yard work in his future to just help keep the muscles to get him working through.
Make sure he keeps using those muscles so they don't.
One of the things his cute little doctor said that I think he was Google eyes over. She said, he's going to be sore. And you got to be mean. So we've been making him get up, walk, touch his toes, stretch. I have him clearing off the one side of the dam now where he's using loppers to...
So that he's keeping his back. Question, did we at least have full coverage? Well, yes. We had it financed. So we had to, by law, have to have full coverage on it anyway. But we have learned over the years that there's a reason why insurance businesses are in business and why it's actually necessary. So as far as we know so far, our insurance people have told us we have excellent insurance and we should be okay. But you never know with injuries and I mean, just look at the truck. You look at the truck, you never know what kind of
I mean, they could have died.
yeah. You know, I haven't seen it yet, but well, I say that I heard it one night. The first night that he went to bed, he did have a few nightmares. But I just let him, just let him work through it. He kind of fell back asleep. So I know there's going to be a little bit of...
I didn't hear him. Was he woke up screaming or something?
No, just like kind of whimpering kind of thing. Because that was the thing. He and the other girl, they both lost consciousness. And Blaze, they both have no recollection of what happened until they're getting cut out of the seat. So.
But we'll see. We're waiting on the insurance company now, the adjuster to come. They're going to pick up the truck.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to take
Total
it to truck heaven. Probably cremate it and have a little service for it or something. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
At the crushing machine.
Blaze is staying on the whole other side of the property right now.
But accident was, of course, labeled Blaze's fault.
Mm-hmm.
So he's going to be responsible for his medical bills. The insurance company will not cover his medical bills because he was at fault.
Mm-hmm. So he's going to have to pay for his ambulance ride and for his visit to the hospital.
Yep.
Yes, yep. USAA. Mm-hmm.
And,
yep, he's now learned he's not invincible. Lots of young folks don't learn that lesson young in life. I agree with that. That's part of the problem, is they think they know everything and that nothing can touch them.
Oh, he got touched.
Yeah, he got touched, all right.
So did my truck.
We've been calling him the truck murderer. Truck murderer. Save some springs from it. We can do some things for y'all. See, that's the...
Well, see, that one coil spring did get knocked off. I could probably go down there and grab it.
No, So, is he healed enough to put a bit Not yet. Palmetto's right there with you.
Mm-hmm. Here's the thing, and I've already calmed down enough where I could at least talk to him for a few minutes. Because right now I can't even. I'm past the. And look, if you guys want to send us well wishes, please do not say the phrase that, praise God, at least he's okay, because I'm past that.
We're past that.
I was past that about 15, 20 minutes after the doctor told me he was going to be okay.
No, that's not true. No, it took about a day for that to wear off. But then, and actually it hasn't completely worn off, because I don't know if any of y'all have ever had to be in a situation like this, and I hope to God you never have to if you haven't. But there's this internal struggle, at least with our situation, there's this internal struggle of feeling bad for being angry. That guilty feeling for being angry because he robbed us of a vehicle that we'd worked so hard for and worked even harder for once we lost the dairy. I mean, we had to work twice as hard to keep that payment up. And, it's so hard to not be angry about it. And you kind of got to get through that, So, my half-brother passed away in a car accident in 93. I was 8. Ugh.
And like I told Blaze when I finally talked to him for a few minutes, I said, I wouldn't be mad if it would have happened you going to pick up some feed and you were alone in that truck. If you would have followed our rules, if you would have just listened to us instead of being this stinking defiant, wouldn't be upset. I'd be thankful that you're okay. And
even if it had been his fault, like it still would have been a different
we would have been
situation.
figuring out ways to try to help him with the medical bills, if not front the whole freaking thing ourselves. But just for the plain fact that, because this is not our first act of defiance and stupidity with him, that, you know, I'm not paying for it. I'm not. A lot of y'all can either agree or disagree with me on this. I don't. You're not here. You're not here dealing with
what we're dealing with, right?
And so he's an adult now. He's 19 years old, and he has to be responsible for his actions. He chose to be defiant. He chose to make the decision to disobey us and go get this girl, because it's not like we were trying to be jerks and trying to control him. We knew he wasn't an experienced enough driver to handle having somebody else in that vehicle with him.
And that's one thing, like, I'm always the glass is half full and the silver lining and all of that kind of stuff. And so there's a couple of blessings that have come out of this. One is that the girls have stepped up to a whole new level over the last few days, because Blaze normally is the heavy lifter of the feed and doing all of that stuff if we had bags. Now, unfortunately, the day that he had the accident, he was supposed to be going to get feed, and we would have had it in barrels and it wouldn't have been as big of an issue. But he didn't, so we had to go to Tractor Supply and get bags of feed.
And this is where we're blessed. Carol and Ladessa weren't asked. Carol and Ladessa weren't
told.
Instructed. Carol went to the shop, fired up my little tractor that I recently just taught her how to drive maybe a couple weeks ago. It's been about 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Had connected the little trailer to it, come right up to the Prius, and together, and they never work together. They're always fighting. But together,
they picked up the 50-pound bags of feed and loaded them up.
Put them in that trailer.
Then took them over to the feed house. Put them in the barrels. Unloaded them.
And they be getting up every morning without having to be told. Basically sneaking out to go do Blaze's chores. To go feed and water the animals.
They even go to the back pasture and go check on all the animals, and then they text me pictures.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, that's one thing, is that they definitely have stepped up, and we're using it as a teaching moment for them. Is, you know, look, when mommy and daddy tell you to do something or to not do something, there is a reason. It's not because we're trying to be jerks. It's not because, you know, we're evil and you're our slaves or whatever. You're doing stuff for a reason. You know, some kids have this attitude, well, we're doing all the farm chores, or we have to help with all the farm chores. There's a different mentality there. It's, you're investing in your own meal 2 years from now, you know, or for 6 months from now, or whatever. And, you know, they get it. They understand that the reason that they're up at 7 in the morning and going out and pouring feed or rotating grass or filling up water troughs is not because we told them to, or we asked them to, or it's a chore. It's because it's their food, and if they don't take care of it, it's not going to come to fruition. It's, you know, and so that mentality there, plus, you know, hopefully they understand that we're not just trying to be jerks. We're saying, look, there's a reason why we tell you to do something a certain way. We are a lot older than you. We have a lot more experience than you. And that's the thing I think Blaze just never got. I guess he just always thought that we were just telling him not to do something because we just wanted to be able to flex our muscles and say, don't do it.
I have my own theory on that one, but it's neither here nor there.
I gotta wash your baseball cap.
Yes, you do.
It's really dirty.
Yes, it is.
How
But-
angry are the girls' family? Nah, we haven't really heard much of anything.
You talk to them.
Mm-mm. That's the other thing. Barely knew this girl.
I never met her.
We'd never met her.
I don't even know who she is.
She'd only been working with Blaze for like a month.
And I will quote myself, when they called me at the post office, my Jeep was down. So I had to call Robin and tell Robin to come get me. So I'm sitting there, and the state troopers calling me, the county officers calling me, one of the local retired EMT guys is calling me, and he's like, and such is okay. And my exact phrase was, "Who the F is that?" And he was like, "Well, that was the female passenger in the vehicle." Because at first he's like, they're airlifting the female passenger. I said, "Female passenger? Who? What?"
Yeah, because the first thing we thought was one of the girls.
I thought it was Carol.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Hold on, let me get her information." I said, "Well, just how old was she?
Yeah.
Was she the same age as Blaze?
Younger.
Or younger? What? Don't you put me on hold.
Mm-mm.
Answer that question." "Oh, she was the same age as Blaze, is older."
Or a little bit older.
Okay, and then he said her name, like, "Who the F is that?"
No, didn't even know. I mean, don't even know her. So.
And so.
Yeah. The girl's not still in the hospital. She was released a couple days ago.
Then they proceeded to tell me on the phone that they had to use the jaws of life to get
Cut
them
her
out.
Mm-hmm.
That's the whole reason why the passenger side door,
Just
front door,
laying
and
down.
back door are not there.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm getting all this information via the phone.
Well, and then me.
And then I'm waiting on her, and she's taking longer and longer and longer. Well, unbeknownst to me, she typed in the Iowa post office in her GPS, and it took her right past the wreck.
I literally drove right up on the wreck.
She didn't see, but when she got there, she did not see this side of the truck.
I didn't see the passenger side.
She didn't see this side. All she saw was the driver's side. And I wish we would have a picture, but if you can tell.
Well, look, go back to that one.
Yeah.
Look, the driver's side is barely touched. It's all passenger side. So I didn't even see the spider webbing of the window because it's all on the passenger side. So I didn't get to see that. So when I picked him up, Jason said, "Well, they're telling me that the truck is totaled," and he's asking me, and of course I was in shock when I rolled up on it because I mean literally I'm coming up over the hill and I see several cop cars. I see a couple of I'm seeing all kinds of stuff. There were some DOT people out. There was all kinds of craziness going on. And so trying to take it all in and not, well, I did bust out in tears. But I pulled up on it and the cop was trying to wave me through and I'm trying to put words together and go, "That's my truck. Like, is my son still here? I don't know what's going on." He's like, "Ma'am, you need to pull over and you need to turn your car off." And I'm like, "Okay." Turned my car off. He went to go talk to somebody and came back to me. And I'm thinking he was actually on the phone with you. Like, I think that they were still trying to talk to you. And so he came back to me and he told me Blaze had been taken by ambulance to the hospital. They had airlifted a girl. They were both alert and responsive when they left. So that was about all he could tell me.
The very first phone call I got was, all the guy told me was that, he said they had to airlift one. He didn't tell me if it was my son or if it was the girl.
One of them had to be airlifted.
Yeah. And so I'm called Robin. I said, "Look, Blaze has been in a bad wreck."
And he wouldn't tell me any more details.
And so then the second phone call comes in, and
it was the guy that we had just had run-ins with about the hay a week before.
And we started talking and da-da-da-da-da. And he's the one who told me that the girl got airlifted and that Blaze was going via ambulance, that he was alert, awake, responsive. And I said, "Well, how bad is he?" He goes, "There's nothing life-threatening. They're going to have to go check him out. He's complaining of pain in his back and in his
legs
hips
and his
stuff."
hips.
He said, "So he did lose consciousness, so they're going to be a
CT
lot of this
scan.
is just precaution.
Yeah, they got to check and make sure everything's okay.
And I said, okay, so you're telling me that he's going to be all right. So, and in my mind, I'm thinking, maybe this is not as bad.
Right, we didn't know.
Bad as the first, because the first guy that called me was just in a flat out panic.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, well, maybe this first dude was just kind of just flipping out.
Right.
And I said, okay, talk to me about my truck. Can I come and pick it up? And he goes, no, your truck is gone.
Your truck's gone. And that was the thing. When I got to Jason, he still had not told me any details. And thank God, I don't know that I've seen her on here, but I called Mama Donna from Old Ways, New Times. And I was a wreck. And so she kept me focused so that I could drive. And I get to the post office, and Jason tells me a little bit more about what he knows. And then we start heading towards the hospital. We get to the hospital. We check on Blaze. Blaze told us a kind of humorous story. When he was in the ambulance, there was a new guy, and so they were trying to teach the new guy how to do everything. Mm-hmm. So they were keeping Blaze alert, asking him questions, and they asked him when his birthday was, and he said 3/24/99, and they were like, oh, so you have a birthday coming? And he was like, no. And they're like, well, you just said 3/24. That's like in like 10 days. He goes, no, I'm not going to make it.
I'm not going to make it.
I'm not going to make it. They're like, oh, it'll be okay, man. Everything's fine. He's like, no, you don't understand.
You don't understand. He said, matter of fact, while you're over there trying to get the IV in my arm, just go ahead and nick it. That way I can just bleed out right here. And they were like, it can't be that bad. He goes, your dad's going to be more happy that you're alive than anything. Go away. Go away.
No. Mosquitoes. Leave them out. Go. Yeah, so he says,
so the guy,
it's my dad's truck.
And the guy was like, so that truck was your dad's truck? And he was like, yeah. And he said, okay, he may get
he'll get a little upset,
but he's going to be more happy that
okay.
you're going to get Ken. And Blaze is like, you don't understand.
I really shouldn't
have been on this side of town. He told me to go straight to get the feed and straight to come home, and I wasn't supposed to have anybody in the truck. And I picked up my girl that my parents really didn't want me being around. And he said the paramedic went, well, there's that. And they just kind of changed the subject on it.
Then we get to the hospital, and of course he's telling everybody, my dad is going to kill me. You don't understand. My dad's going to kill me. And we get there, and the doctor, like dad here is in a panic because we walk up on Blaze and he's in a C-collar. And at that point in time, I didn't take any pictures of it, but his whole face on the side was swollen, like super swollen. And he had blood coming down his face, and his eye was swollen shut. And it was, bright blue. I mean, it was pretty bad. And so, of course, we're both almost about to buckle at the knees. And the doctor, instead of being a big man or whatever, it was this real fragile female, and she was very soft-spoken.
Yeah, but she was cute.
She was cute, but she was very, I mean, like, very soft-spoken. And so Jason's, like, trying to jump to Blaze, and are you okay? Is my son okay? Tell me what's wrong with him, da-da-da. And she was like, I'm here for Blaze right now. I'm here to make sure that he is okay. And of course, at first we were like, okay, you're a doctor, we get that, but tell us how our son is. Well, then later we find out that he was telling everybody he was going to get killed by his dad. So that was the doctor's way of saying, please don't kill him.
So
then the trooper, this is another comical part. And I don't know if you noticed this, but the trooper comes in and he tells us, look, it was your son's fault. From what we can tell, blah, blah, blah. He tells us everything.
He says, from all my experience, your son did stop at the stop sign.
Mm-hmm.
After
Not sure what happened after that.
Last nice guy number 1, this is what happened.
For latecomer, no, can you tell how it happened?
That's what happened.
From what they can tell, he was at an intersection of a major highway. At least for Elberton.
I don't know if that's a major highway.
It is for Elberton. It's a highway. I'm sorry, not a major
if
highway.
If you go that way, I mean, my driveway is a major highway for Elberton.
But basically what happened is he was at a stop sign. He pulled out to cross the highway, and there was a truck coming and T-boned him. That's the simplest way to put it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the trooper is there, and he's very well spoken, and he's like, "This is what happened. I can tell that your son was wearing his seatbelt. Good thing." And then proceeded to tell us why, and then looked at Blaze's bruises and could tell where the seatbelt.
Well, before Blaze was in, see, you're leaving out the funny part.
Yeah.
Blaze was in getting his brain checked out.
Yes, Blaze was in the truck.
And they were looking, of course, looking for Eddie, looking for brain bleeds and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so the trooper came in, and he's like, basically,
it was his fault.
It was his fault. And he started going through some of the paperwork. And then he took like 3 steps away from me.
Yeah, this is what I was trying to talk about.
He took like 3 steps away from me and reached out like this to hand me the tow receipt.
Here's the tow receipt.
This is where your truck is. And I said, and he's very well mannered. He was standing up straight, he had straight posture. He came in and he was a very confident young man.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, okay, and he handed me the receipt.
And then his whole body.
And then I said, so how bad is my truck? And I'm hand to God, he went just like this. It's done.
It's done. There's just nothing left. And it was like a doctor telling a family member that their family member had just died. Like, yeah. I mean, it was like, it pained him to have to tell you that your truck was just dead. I mean, he's like, because the way he put it, he said, as far as damage on your truck goes, it's gone. It's gone.
And
now, keep in mind, we had not seen the truck yet. We had not seen it. We had just heard that it was totaled. Like, basically, it's totaled. That's just all there is to it. We had not seen the vehicle yet.
Hadn't seen the vehicle yet. And Blaze is fine for now.
For now.
He's got some hard roads ahead of him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he walked away from it fine, but the repercussions of this accident, he's gonna have a hard go of it through his 20s. He's not gonna be able to party probably as much as normal kids and do all some of the fun stuff, because he's probably gonna have some bills laying over him.
We don't know. I mean, and that's the thing. I don't know if any of y'all have ever been through this, but this is the worst part at this point right now, is because it's that fear of the unknown. In anything, if you don't have anything to gauge by, you really don't know. You know, you have no idea what. I mean, we don't know. We've been told our insurance is good, but we don't know what it's going to cover. We don't know. I mean, it's just, you can really get yourself sick speculating.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and we've gotten to the part where we just try not to think about it right now.
Now, Amy for real says that, he's probably going to be scared to death to get back into another vehicle. He doesn't have a choice.
No, we're going to make him.
I'm going to be the a-hole in his life, and he will drive. He's going to he may be just a Prius, and it's going to be me and him in there riding with it.
Even if it's just in the driveway on a couple back roads,
And we're going to go through that intersection probably about 1,000 times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But he's not gonna cop out of driving for the rest of his life because of this. He fell off this horse. He's getting back in that saddle.
Yeah, you can't have him paralyzed by fear. That's just not an option. So, but yeah, the trooper was pretty humorous.
But I liked how he handled Blaze.
Mm-hmm.
He was very firm.
Mm-hmm.
He was very matter-of-fact with Blaze, and he said, this is how I knew you were wearing your seatbelt.
Mm-hmm.
Your little girlfriend didn't have her seatbelt on.
Mm-hmm.
I could charge you, but I'm one of the few deputies that say
she was old enough
to make her own decision. She made the decision to either take it off or put it or not put it on either way. Either way, I could cite you, but I'm not going to. I'm going to cite her a warning ticket.
Mm-hmm.
And that was basically, the end of it. And he kind of gave me a sympathetical nod about the truck again when he left. And
When he told him about the pins with the
Mhm.
seatbelt and how that works, and
that was kind of
yeah, we didn't know
interesting.
that. But anyway, the other thing too, in South Carolina, if your passenger's at 17 or older, it's on them regardless.
Yeah.
He kind of, made it sound like he wasn't really doing us a huge. I mean, but and then come to find out, the other guy driving
Didn't have his
didn't have his seatbelt on either.
seatbelt on, and that might be at the end of the day, that may be a saving grace
For her.
for us.
Oh,
Because if he tries to sue for injuries and pain and suffering and blah blah blah.
well, we don't know. Again, just don't know.
I don't. The insurance company is going to have.
They might fight a little bit
They're
about that.
they're going to have a heyday with him because he wasn't wearing a seatbelt, and they could always argue that your injuries wouldn't have been that bad if you'd have been wearing your seatbelt.
Yeah, again, fear of the unknown.
Yeah.
We don't know. We could speculate all day about this, but we just don't know.
Yeah.
But and then another little mishap we had happen.
I wasn't going to say anything about that.
I'm not going to say names, but the tow truck driver that had our vehicle called the house, and one of the girls picked up the phone, and we had chosen not to tell them because we knew we would be to the hospital and back before they figured out much anything.
Well, we didn't know if we would be to the hospital and back. I already called my parents.
Yeah, they were on the way.
And my parents were already an hour and a half into getting here.
Right.
And so, but they proceeded to tell my daughter everything. They told Carol everything. Blaze was in a bad car wreck, that he's been shipped off to the hospital. The female was airlifted.
Oh, and that was the bad part. They didn't tell him.
They didn't tell Carol the name. They just said female. Carol automatically thought it was mom.
Because it was 11:30 when he called, and that was about the time that I usually go to lunch. So in her mind, the reason why Bubba wasn't back from picking up feed was that he had swung by to pick me up for lunch, and so she was under the impression that mom was being airlifted to the hospital.
Yeah. So we told the state trooper about that. We kind of gave him an earful about that. He said, I don't think there's anything we can do legally. But there will be a stern
will be addressing it. Yeah.
So
whatever.
But Carol's okay.
She was fine. She said, she told me, and because what happened is afterwards she had left me a voicemail, and so I listened to it, and I told Jason I was furious when I heard that because I didn't know that that's what she was thinking.
Yeah, that one almost
later.
got me in trouble at the hospital because I was pissed. I came back in the room because Carol called, and she handed me the phone, and I answered the phone, and she's bawling. Mm-hmm. And I said, breathe, say snuffleupagus. Mm-hmm. And then she,
Blaze isn't back from the feed. Did he have an accident?
Yeah. Because so-and-so called because she knew who the person was. Mm-hmm. We've done business with them in the past with butchering. Mm-hmm. And so-and-so called and told me, was mom with him and da-da-da-da-da. So after I got off the phone with Carol, I'm headed back to Blaze's room, and I'm already like, what the does so-and-so think they're doing, telling my daughter all of this? And I was like, what?
Yeah, because I didn't hear it firsthand. And then Jason handed me back my phone, and I had a voicemail from her, so I listened to it. And I said, well, no wonder she's in a panic. She was scared to death that I was off in a hospital somewhere else because I didn't answer my phone. You did. So she was, very distraught, but very quickly to calm down.
Got over it, and everything.
But when you're already dealing with everything we were dealing with, that was not something that we really would have wanted to have to deal with.
So, with all of that story being said, Robin and I haven't made the final decision yet, but if any of y'all are looking to pack up, move, and start a homestead somewhere, please consider coming around here, because that was the one thing that we learned. We had no
nobody
immediate within 5 minutes. support
The
system.
only people that I had were people I worked with, and I couldn't ask somebody else that I worked with
Yeah.
to stop what they were doing to come help us, you know.
So we're highly suggesting, calling for people to come and move down this way.
Come down and be our friends.
or we may be selling our homestead and going somewhere where we have a support system. North Carolina, Tennessee.
Is there land near us cheap? Most of the land around here is cheap.
Yeah. So that might be something that you...
I told you to move to Virginia.
I'm all for moving to Virginia.
Look, even...
Well, that's... See, in Virginia, we've got Josh, we got Amy, we got Salatin, you know...
Arkansas, yeah.
You know, because...
It was just very
Palmetto is close, but he's over an hour away.
He's like 2.5.
Yeah.
That's, yeah.
Mama Donna, they're 6 hours away.
No, 8.
8.
8.
My parents are 4 hours away. You know.
Virginia's the wrong direction, guys. Yeah. Sherry's in Alabama. Yeah. North Carolina for the win.
You know, Tommy Alderman's, 6 hours away, 8 hours away. You know I could have called Tommy, you know, and 9 times out of 10, he probably would have done whatever he could have done to get here. But, I mean, by the time he would have gotten here, Blaze was already home.
Well, yeah, and that Teresa was, both of them are Teresa, my pie girl, and she was one of the ones that said, if I need to stop what I'm doing and come down, I will.
Yeah.
You know, we had a couple of people that are like, if I need to, you know, I'll come. I'll do whatever I can, you know, and that was nice. But, yeah, at least, yeah, as fast as I could fly with a 4-banger, it would have been at least an hour to get there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the thing is, though, is that, you know, fortunately, we have raised our girls where they had absolutely no problem. They made themselves lunch. Their schedule, their day went completely on
uninterrupted,
with no hitch. I mean, when we got home with Blaze, they were doing their afternoon chores. They had already finished their schoolwork for the day. They had had lunch. I mean, everything was fine. And so that was...
On a positive note, though, Blaze can no longer wear that stinking, smelling,
so he had this sweatshirt.
Put it in a
he had this hoodie sweatshirt that had, and what was the funniest part about it is has the nuclear symbol on it, and it was filthy and nasty all the time.
If it could stand up by itself.
Yeah, and so when I went through to get his stuff, I'm like, dude, your sweatshirt's gone, and so are your pants. And, yeah, they cut. Yeah. So.
But, you know, and it's like, you go through the stages where I was kind of like doing my best not to just freaking fly off the handle and trying to find everything positive to it. And I'm like, well, don't have to change the oil next week.
Well, and that's another funny story. So,
we have all these
pictures. We have all these pictures, right? So whenever Jason would call his mechanic, he would always say, you know, hey, this is wrong with the truck. Tell me what I need to do. When can I get it up there to see you? So we're like, we're going to get him. So Jason picks up the phone and calls him. And he's like, Tracy,
I said, Tracy, there's something going on
Blaze did something about my truck, man.
I want to send you some pictures.
You tell me what's wrong with it.
And you tell me, you know, how fast I need to get it down there to you. And he's like, all right, I'll be waiting for the pictures, and hung up.
And we sent him all the
pictures. I sent him all those pictures that we showed you guys tonight, and the next thing I got back was, holy shit.
Wait a minute. Wait.
What?
Teresa, was this recently?
What?
I lost my son. Is that the one that... Does she have more than one son, or is that the one... You need to send me a message, sweetheart. Anyway.
And it was so funny. He was like, "Holy crap! I can fix that.
I can fix that."
You might not be able to afford it, but I can fix it." And so.
Oh, okay. I got you. I have 2. I lost my first when I was 18. I got you. Okay. All right.
But right now I can't speak for Robin, but for me, I am having an extremely hard time dealing with this. I have this internal battle of, praise God, my son is okay. But then I have a lot of anger to get that I'm dealing with this, because if he would have done what he was told, he wouldn't have been distracted, and he wouldn't even have been at that intersection. And I'd still have my truck. I wouldn't have to watch him do his poor, pitiful me walk around my house. I wouldn't have had to lose a day at work. Robin wouldn't have had to have lost 2 days at work.
Should have probably taken a 3rd day, but.
And I definitely wouldn't have had to deal with that overflow of emotion sitting there in my post office, feeling trapped and absolutely
powerless,
useless.
Yeah.
And this was basically kind of like the straw that broke the camel's back, because he's been, for some reason or another, been so defiant over the last couple of years that it's at the point.
So Palmetto knows exactly what we're. My brother passed. He and my cousin snuck out to go to a party, and they were on the way back, and the cousin rolled the car in the woods.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I mean, and all because he couldn't listen. Yep. And that's where we're at, is because you put us in this position that, I mean, we're scared to death.
I haven't been that scared, and I have never felt that helpless and powerless in my entire life.
Mm-mm.
I'm sitting in this tiny
back
room mail house, and not be now. Some folks got mail that day that had a dent in it, because I punched a couple of bags of mail, and nobody said anything to me at the mail house. I mean, my post office is postmaster is a tiny little woman, and everybody kind of just let me go. They, at first, I guess I must have turned like really, really white or whatever.
I'm sure. I mean,
because
the shock.
She kind of like held my arm. She's like, "Well, baby, you need to come over here and just sit down." And we have one of our RCAs was a EMT paramedic, and she was trying to be slick, and she came over and did this number where she grabbed my wrist, and she's like, "It's gonna be okay."
She was checking her pulse.
But she was checking her pulse, and I was just kind of like, I'm not even gonna bust her chops about this, and but everybody at my job was extremely supportive, and.
So Rock's Corner, this is the thing that we've been dealing with this one a lot. Is everybody the first inclination is to say we're just glad that everybody's okay. But we're so it's just hard to explain. And you can't, from the outside looking in, it's hard to understand, but we've been dealing with defiance for a while. He's snuck out of the house a couple of times. He's, gone, not come straight home after work or done this or done that. And so we've been dealing with the last couple of months of this, and now it's all accumulated to where it just climaxed to totaling the truck and putting a girl in the hospital and hurting himself. And
it's like when I looked at him today, when I walked down to show him where he was going to be stretching his muscles at, I looked at him and I said, I know God has big plans for you. I don't know what they are, but it's got to be huge because every time you do something in defiance, he smacks the teetotal crap out of you. And each smack is getting harder and harder and harder. Because, see, here's 9 times out of 10 when we've had great acts of defiance. I mean, it's never been to this level, but it's always...
There it is. That's, I mean...
Yeah.
You know, Palmetto, it doesn't get much more powerful than that. Don't end up in the belly of the whale, Blaze. Because that's exactly what happened with Jonah, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
He didn't do what he was supposed to do.
And, you know, most of the times you just let the natural consequences take heed. Because I told him when he turned 15, I said, you do stupid stuff now when you go out in town. I can't protect you.
It's much harder for us to protect you from the real world.
And then when he finally got his driver's license, I sat him down and told him that again. I can't protect you like I have been when you go out there into the world and go full motard.
Right.
I can't protect you. I can't stop those consequences from happening.
Right.
You know, and then he got that speeding ticket. You know? And it's just one of those that he's got some hard consequences coming down now.
And maybe it will be. Maybe it'll be the thing that wakes him up that defiance obviously is not.
Well, I mean, he's not only got hard consequences coming from the world, but we drew our line in the sand today with him. And
I think he's fairly clear that there is no, well, we'll just let it blow over in a couple days.
Yeah.
We weren't ugly, but we were firm. And we have to be at this point.
Yeah. And so I started looking for a new truck.
I don't even know why you're doing that.
And just to try to keep my mind off of it, and I'm not there yet. Because each truck I looked at just...
ticked you off even more.
It upset me. Cause see, I gotta have it. I really need a truck, like now. To do some things that we've
Pretty
got planned to do. But I'm not there yet. We went and looked at and it was a nice truck. Don't get me wrong. It was a nice truck. But how I know I'm not ready to start looking yet is because I told Robin, no, I don't want that truck. It's too fancy. So I said, that's not a working man's truck. That's a rich man's truck. So.
Yeah, and that's true, is that at least he'll be around to...
And so everybody that's been local that we showed those pictures to, they were like, dude, you need to delete those pictures off your phone. Because every time you look at him, you're just going to get upset. And
even
you're just
more.
More upset with him, and, it may damage your relationship. And I said, no. Those pictures are staying. Especially the one where especially this picture right here. This picture will forever stay
on your phone.
On my phone.
No matter what phone you have.
No matter what phone I have, I will always have access to this picture. And I don't care if my son is 45.
It needs help moving.
And he's moving, or his truck is broke down and maybe he's farming or whatever. And he comes up to me and he's going to say, hey, Pop, hey, Dad, can I borrow your truck? I need to do da-da-da-da-da. And all I'm going to do is hold up this picture. Boop. And I'm going to say, bitch, please.
You just said that online. But that's exactly the response he's going to get.
And so...
Yeah, that's the one thing everybody keeps asking. What kind of truck hit your truck? A tank?
Yeah.
It was a little 1500 type of, truck. Just a basic entry-level, bigger body truck.
I don't know what kind of truck it was. I haven't seen that.
I've seen it. I knew. It's like, I think it was a GMC.
But again, testimony to the way that my truck was built.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not. Let's just take Blaze out of the scenario. That female, his little girlfriend, or whatever she is.
Whatever, yeah.
She's sore. And she's happened to, just like Blaze, happened to
get up and get moving.
These muscles and everything to be able to start to walk again. But she has no broken back, no broken neck, no broken hips, no broken arms,
right,
legs, nothing.
It's all muscular from what we can tell.
And she got all of the impact.
Mm-hmm.
So hats off to Ford, because Ford Tough is exactly what they say it is. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to write the CEO of Ford and send him those pictures and tell him thank you. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, and maybe this was God's way of waking them up. I mean, nobody knows what he's
what
doing.
His plan is,
you
but
know?
Yeah, you can't help but.
You know, I tell everybody, look, I said, I had my Marine Corps license plate on that.
Ran over a church sign. I mean,
I said, that wasn't nothing
God
more.
And chesty puller.
That was nothing more than a bunch of my old jarhead friends that didn't make it back circled around that car, circled around that truck, and said, "Nah, we're gonna enjoy what happens after this. Watching what he does."
Watch this. It's just happened Wednesday.
Yeah. So.
But it's definitely been a very emotional couple of days, to say the least.
Yeah. And so, I mean,
I've been telling people that have been people that have been praying for us. We appreciate it. We know that, you know, that's how we've been making it through. You know, we've had all these.
Well, I mean, if y'all don't know what's he call himself? Josh.
JJL
Forge. JJL Forge. If you have not been to his YouTube channel and subscribed, I'm asking you as a personal favor to do that for me.
Because that's who's kept Jason.
That's who's kept me out of prison.
And kept you laughing.
Because he is a funny guy.
Yeah.
And he's been over the top there for me. You know, and he's basically, since he found out this has happened, he's basically texted me every day, or not texted me, Facebook messaged me every day.
Mine has been C. Dean. Sherry, she's been Facebooking me just about every day. I'll just get random messages, you know.
Yeah. Hey, Laura, and
yeah, that's true, Suburban. If he was younger, we would have been liable for his expenses. You're right. That's true. Very true.
And so, if y'all could,
yeah, JJL Forge.
I don't know if Kitty's in here or not.
I haven't seen her. I know she wasn't on a lot this weekend.
If you could, one of my wrenches, put up the link to his YouTube channel, please.
Oh, just going back and forth. There she is.
He's awesome. Kitty's always there for me. We've talked back through messengers. I haven't Skyped anybody yet because especially somebody like Kitty or Mama Donna or something like that, because I'm afraid I'll start crying in front of them.
Yeah.
And
well, Terry, I didn't do a lot of talking. It wasn't necessarily that I got some messages from Terry as well. I got messages from a lot of people, and each one of them was appreciated. But and I didn't respond to a lot of it. A lot of times it was just okay or thanks or something like that. You know, it's almost like when a mom has a brand new baby.
Well, it's different. A lot of the girls went to you, Mark, for real. Amy's better half, the better part of that relationship. He reached out to me a couple times. You know, I sent him the pictures.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, anybody I send pictures to was like,
yeah, so if you got the pictures via the Facebook message, you're somebody very important to us.
mm-hmm.
Because we were basically kind of
we
not.
didn't want to release the pictures until she was out of the hospital, because for a few days, and even now, I don't know if you noticed it, but there's definitely a sense of humor that is constantly still flowing, and that's how I deal with stress a lot, is I make jokes about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't want to post the pictures out there and people start saying stuff, and then I start making jokes about, you know, well, at least we don't have a car payment right now, or at least we don't have to go get the truck fixed now, or we don't have to, and I didn't want that to be disrespectful. So
yeah. That's another positive thing. You guys don't have to listen to us fuss about the truck breaking down again.
And that was the thing, is that's what we've been trying to do, is you either laugh or you cry. And I'm sure both of us in our own way have done our crying a little bit behind closed doors in little places we don't like to talk about. But but you either have to laugh or cry. And, you know, one thing that I'm thankful for is that no matter what life has dealt us throughout the last 13 years, we always pick up the pieces and just keep moving forward. And
mine is, my anger is not about my truck.
Mm-mm.
You know, I hide it and try to make it like it is, but it's really not.
It's disappointment.
I'm so utterly kick me in the groin, disappointed in him. Because I look at him and I see an individual that could make this world a better place. I look at this individual and I'm like, he's extremely intelligent. He's a good-looking kid. He can. The world would be his oyster if he would just
apply himself.
Try. If he put as much effort into his own life as he does in finding ways to defy us, the boy would be a gazillionaire and president of the United States one day. But I'm afraid he is going to be working in a granite shed or at McDonald's for the rest of his life. You can't teach somebody drive. They either have it or they don't. And unfortunately, he doesn't.
Well, we'll see.
You know.
I think this is a defining moment for him, honestly. And it's what he does with it at this point is what's gonna. I mean, I really do. I feel like this is that character building moment for him of either he builds or he collapses. It's one or the other. There's no in between at this point. So
we went out last night. Robin took me out to get me out of the house.
St. Patty's Day.
So I didn't commit a felony. So we went out and celebrated the departure of all the snakes out of Ireland. And we went to an old-fashioned style Irish pub in Anderson, South Carolina. And it was nice to just sit there on a bar stool and have grown-up conversation. I had a couple of Guinnesses. And
no, they ran out of the green beer by the time we got there. Because it's kind of one of those things, we're sitting around the house and we had already cooked corned beef and we were going to sit down and eat and it was cool. And then we're kind of looking at each other, and Blaze is over there doing Spanish and we can hear him speaking his Spanish and I could just see Jason tensing up. And I was like, maybe we need to get out of the house. Because the tension is starting to accumulate in the house and we don't need to be here when it comes to a nasty head. So we did. We went out and
that
Irish pub.
That guy at that pub, he knew how to to draw the
how
Guinness
to
down.
do a Guinness. Yes, the head on it was probably almost half an inch.
Yeah.
It was nice.
Mm-hmm.
And then Jason got to see a part. See, so we all wear our emotions a little bit different right now. Jason's thing is more about, he's just disappointed and whatever. I'm just flat out irritable all the time. And last night we were sitting at the bar. And Jason has this guy sitting next to him. And
he's just
talking. And Jason's, holding the conversation with him, and I'm on the other side of Jason, and I'm just minding my own, watching the bartender pour his drinks and deal with people. And this guy comes up, and then this woman comes up beside him, and there was room for her to stand beside him, between him and me, but not with a carry-on luggage bag of a purse. I mean, her purse was as big as my butt. I mean, it was huge. Just saying. So she proceeds to sit next to me, and every time she turns to talk to him, she does this number with her purse.
Okay, you can bam. Explain it. You don't have to show it.
So she's sitting there next to me. She bam, and keeps knocking me with her purse. But because it's her purse and it's not her arm, she has no idea that she's doing this to me. So I lead over to Jason with a few expletives, and I say, "If
you
this
know that
woman,
whole, you know how we say at the end of every show, be kind to one another."
Because you don't know what someone's going through.
Robin was not hearing it at that particular point in time.
Oh.
He's like, I'm about to just smack her face into this bar.
Oh, I was dropping F-bombs, y'all. I'm not even gonna lie. I was so mad. No, we did not drive home.
Mm-mm.
No, we stayed in town. And that was the other thing. I wasn't drinking very. I had one drink at the beginning of the night, and that was it. So I was completely sober, and that might have been part of the problem, is that I wasn't loose enough, and I was still dealing with all of my other emotional issues from the week. And so then she has the audacity. She leans up on the bar, and her forearm is touching my forearm. And she literally starts pushing and leaning on me. And Jason is doing everything he can. He has pulled my chair several times, right? Moving me closer to him. And all she keeps doing is moving closer to me. Like, she just had to be touching me. And I told Jason, I said, I swear, if she gets any closer, I am going to ask her if she would like to sit in my lap. Because that's about all that was left at that point. Oh, I mean, he doesn't realize, I don't think he realized just how close. And then I went over to the bartender because I was closing out the tab. And he handed me a pen that didn't work. So I'm already like, bruh. And then he hands me a pen. And he had taken really good care of Jason that night. So I was ready to give him a nice tip and take care of him, and because we'd like to come back and get good treatment. So I go over to him and I'm like, can I get a pen that works? And he's like, no. And I'm like, okay, then you won't get paid. I mean, what do you want? Well, I've already got your card, so you don't have my signature. And so he, you need to go. I didn't answer you because we were still online. So I told him, I was like, if this woman bumps into me one more time, you're going to have to clear the bar because I'm not stopping until she's on the ground. I'm like, she has no idea what kind of week I've had, and she's really going to get the full brunt and not even know. Like, I was just, oh, and that was the other thing somebody mentioned, our yarn date. So we were supposed to go get coffee. That was actually Friday night. We went to go get coffee.
Yeah. I'm already upset, heartbroken over what my son done. And she's like, well, let's go. Look, come on, let's go. I'll get you a fancy coffee. Oh, okay. Sure.
Well, no, you said you wanted to look for your leather stuff.
Unless...
No, we weren't in Hobby Lobby. We were in Michael's. Because it was after Hobby Lobby had closed. Because Hobby Lobby closed at 8.
Michael's is going to...
They carry leatherworking stuff.
They're going to start serving fancy coffee.
No, you were talking about your leatherworking stuff, so we went there to go look for leatherworking, and we found some stuff there. And of course, when we circled around to the back side of the building, Carol had asked me, she's watching me make all of these scarves for the conference.
You know what? I'm going to stop her right here. She's not going to put this on Carol.
No, I wasn't.
Carol did ask that, but she spent about a nanosecond looking for Carol's yarn. And then the rest of the time she was touching the yarn and feeling the yarn.
I was putting my head up against it.
No, this one's too scratchy. This one's too soft. This one, I don't know. Blah, blah, blah. So.
That was my yarn therapy. And then we go to get our fancy coffee. That was another be kind to people because you don't know what they're...
And so we order the coffee. We're sitting there. And we're sitting there. We're sitting there.
It normally doesn't take that long.
We sat there for a good 5 or 10 minutes. And then Mr. Yahoo behind the counter says, "Oh, you want this one? Well, we're going to start
cleaning the machine.
We're cleaning the machine.
Now.
It's going to take about 30 minutes. I'm like, you better give my money back if I can just throat punch you."
Mm-hmm.
So she got to play with her yarn, but I didn't.
You didn't get your fancy coffee.
To this day, I still have not gotten my coffee.
Well, I was gonna stop and get it for you today, but we were kind of in a funk.
Still didn't get my coffee. But I got my Guinness and Jameson. So.
And you got your notification today that your glasses are ready, so you're gonna go pick those up tomorrow.
Why bring that up?
Because you're gonna be a sexy, dapper gentleman. I'm convinced.
But I pick up my spectacles tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
I have to drive a Prius to go get them.
Yeah, that's the other thing I'm salty about. When we have the truck, I don't have to drive. So now I have to go back to being the driver.
Oh, please. You don't have to drive. You didn't have to open up
my doors.
cars.
What's a male cougar called?
You don't have to open up doors. You don't have to...
Nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Now we're in the Prius. I can't open up your doors and stuff because it takes me 5 minutes to get in and out of that car. It's like a fat guy in a phone booth. I gotta get greased up and somebody toss a Twinkie out there.
What's a male cougar called, Jason? Oh, yep. That's about right. Alright, well, I guess we can kind of... The kids are starting to ask about dinner, so...
Do I have to feed them?
No. They've already got a plan, I guess. But, so.
Tommy Alderman went on early today because I think they had some plans.
Jason plus a Prius equals feed in his beard. I forgot about that. That was a great moment. That was awesome. Anyway, so we're going to go ahead and call it a night. I'll leave it on that note right there. Try to keep it upbeat. Thank you for all the prayers. If you'll continue to pray for us, we would be more than appreciative of that.
Thank you for all the guys, all y'all that reached out through Facebook messaging, through emails, all of that, phone calls. You know, we really appreciate it, and we love you guys. Thank you so much. And remember, even though some of us don't practice what we preach.
Yes, Jordan, you can.
Be kind to one another, even if they are hitting you with a carry-on luggage. You don't know what that other person is going through.
Well, that's the point, is I was kind to her. I could have not been kind. But maybe she could have been kind to me because she didn't know what I was going through.
Love on one another.
Oh, I was gonna love on her.
Do your best to recycle, repurpose, reuse. Let's keep stuff out of the landfills. Vote properly in your local area to get them to do tax incentives and stuff to revitalize downtown areas, so that way they're not tearing down forests and habitat for our wildlife to build another building so some company like Terminix can go in there or something. So
Laura, she was kind. Her face isn't in the bar now, is it?
we love you guys.
Good night, y'all.
Y'all say a prayer for my truck. It's in truck heaven. And we love you guys and talk to you later.
Good night.
Bye.